Okay, you know what you're here for, an unscripted breakdown of the Batman Cape Crusader Season 2 trailer. Now, there are absolutely tons of things in this trailer, so many that I'm not entirely certain that I've identified them all. But here are the big things that jumped out at me. So first things first, the Riddler is at the front and center of this trailer. He is in it a lot. And in terms of his personality, he seems a little bit like the Jim Carrey Riddler that we know, in that he's like very high energy and cackles and shouts a lot, but he's also very violent. He's always firing machine guns or screaming and shouting. It's interesting that Flash notes that the Riddler is trying to take over Gotham and no one's going to mess with him, so they're kind of presenting him as a gangster, not necessarily a quiz-obsessed prankster or irritant, I suppose. The other thing that really leapt out at me is the fact that the Riddler is not working alone. Now, we had a hint of this in the images that were shared from the show, where it showed a question mark shot into the wall with bullets, and then the dot on the question mark was like marked with a green kiss. Now, some people thought, oh, that must mean the Riddler is secretly a woman. Yeah, maybe, but I think this trailer confirms that he is working with Poison Ivy. I think it's Poison Ivy, given the fact that she's wearing green, she's got a spiky collar around her neck like thorns from a rose. So I think that this is Poison Ivy. It could very well be Rose and Thorn, who was a fairly obscure supervillain with a split personality disorder. A lady named Rose, who was very nice, and Thorn, who was a superpowered villain. But I'm pretty certain it's Poison Ivy, which is a nice surprise, because I didn't think we were going to get her based on what we'd seen so far. And I did also note that there is a scene where the Riddler is talking to someone with their back to him, and they've got a very distinctive chrome dome. And I think that may very well be a tease of Hugo Strange. I could be reaching here, but that distinctive skull shape screams Hugo Strange to me, and I think it would be very cool if we saw him in this series, because he's the kind of character that fits in with this era, the kind of Professor Moriarty, mad scientist, ultra criminal. I think he'd be really great in this. In fact, in my headcanon, that Strange Days short film that Bruce Timm did years ago that had Hugo Strange in it, in my mind, in my headcanon, that was an early episode of Cape Crusader. I know it technically isn't, but to me, it works, unless Hugo Strange turns up and is completely different. Now, aside from Riddler and Ivy, there also seem to be a lot of references to the supernatural, which could be a follow-up to the Linton Midnight plot of Season 1, where he took Gentleman Ghost's ghost, I suppose, and when Batman asked what he was going to do with him, he said it's best if you don't find out. Now, there's a person who seems to be possessed by a ghost, because you can see his black eyes with a ghostly face in it. If you look at his face and his hair in particular, he's got red hair and a white streak in it, and immediately that says to me Jason Blood. Now, it's probably just a coincidence. It may not be Jason Blood. They may not be introducing Etrigan the Demon, but I would love it if they did. We also see what looks like a cult leader that could be the Mad Monk, but the fact that he's wearing a bat-themed costume makes me think he's Barbatos, the kind of demonic bat god that lives beneath Gotham City, or at least someone who worships him. And you can see a couple of shots in the trailer where it looks like the city's being overrun with maybe zombies or monsters, I don't know. But it really does seem like they are keeping up with the kind of noirish, cult, supernatural vibes of the first season that they kind of alluded to. There's also a very quick flash of what looks like potentially Man-Bat, but I think it's either a Scarecrow fear toxin hallucination or Barbatos himself. But we'll just have to wait and see on that. The next thing I want to talk about is the female version of the Mad Hatter, a lady named Hattie. Now, here, she's a TV personality who talks directly to the camera and brings up the typical, oh, won't somebody think of the children, argument for why Batman is a bad thing. I saw someone recently say he thought that this Mad Hatter was terrible because she's just an evil version of Oprah Winfrey, and the idea of that just kind of made me laugh. Remember, of course, that all those people that get upset about the change to Mad Hatter, saying that the Mad Hatter should always be a creepy incel that lusts after a girl named Alice, that was an invention of Paul Dini's in the early 90s. Mad Hatter had existed for, about 50 years prior to that, as just a weird guy that looked like he fit in with Alice in Wonderland, and a dude with fiery hair who was obsessed with hats. And Mad Hatter didn't even get the ability to control people's minds until the 80s. Although thinking about this Hattie character and how she communicates with people through the TV, perhaps that is a different form of mind control. And I don't mean like literally, she looks out to the audience and says, you will do as I say. It's more like she's influencing people, influencing how they behave and what they think. Now that's potentially an interesting avenue to take her down. And speaking of gender flips, We were shown Roxy Rocket without their helmet on, but the camera did not show them above the shoulders, so their head remained a mystery. There is some speculation, maybe just by me, that this version of Roxy Rocket is a man, so, they're doing an opposite gender flip where they take a female character and make them male. I think that might be done to silence some critics. But yeah, the fact that they don't show Roxy's face without the helmet on, when the helmet is distinctly off, tells me they're hiding something there. And speaking of hiding faces, this is the big bit. So the main trailer conclusion is a wonderful tease for the Joker, where he calls up a telephone at a crime scene. It looks like there are a lot of dead bodies there, probably dead gangsters. And Batman, who is investigating, answers the phone, and the Joker speaks to him. We get a nice top-down shot of him standing in a phone booth, if people remember what those are, telling Batman that he's there to help him realize who he truly is. And then we get another shot of just the Joker's eyes peering out from the darkness. Now, the fact that they aren't showing his face, his full face, tells me there's going to be something different about his mouth. I think he's probably just got a really hideous grin. Bit like Gwynplaine from the Man Who Laughs, which is who the Joker was originally based off of. In that story, he'd had his face cut up, basically, as punishment to make it look like he was smiling forever. But they could be going a different direction where he just doesn't smile at all. He might just have a disfigured face. I don't know. But I'm really intrigued by what they're going to do to his face to make him stand out. Because I know James Tucker has said that they've gone back to the original Golden Age version of Joker and they've characterized him that way, where he was more of a ruthless killer that terrorized the city. But yes, more to come on that, I'm sure. I'm really looking forward to seeing Joker some more. And then just some quick final observations. So I noticed that Arnold Flass is back in the police department. No sign of Harvey Bullock, which makes me believe he's taken the fall for the murder of Harvey Dent. Note as well he wears a purple hat, which makes me think he may have had a change of heart, or perhaps it's a flashback to an earlier time in his career before he started wearing that kind of turquoisey green/blue suit all the time. There's also an incredibly cool shot of Batman flying a biplane, manning a machine gun, presumably shooting, Roxy Rocket on their jetpack? Possibly, maybe, not certain. Lots of explosions going off around him, so it seems like he's under attack from another vehicle as well. But it's a really cool look. That kind of Golden Age, vintagey Batman flying a biplane is really cool, and I'm glad to see it. But yeah, all in all, I think this looks really cool, very exciting, and I'm looking forward to watching every episode the moment it drops on the 31st of July. Now, I am going to be releasing videos about the characters seen in Caped Crusader practically immediately. I mean, as soon as I get access to it, I'm going to start writing things. I've got some things in mind already to say about the Joker, but I can at least write how the previous versions of the Joker were handled, and then update the script once I know what Caped Crusader's doing. So that will probably be the first Caped Crusader Season 2 video I do. I mean, unless Amazon or Warner Brothers decide to give me early access again and ask me to do a review, in which case, well, maybe that will come first. I don't know. But anyway, let me know what you think in the comments below. I'm absolutely certain that some of my guesses are way off, so feel free to share your predictions and we'll compare notes once the series goes live. Thanks for watching, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.